So our first speaker grew up and lives in Austin. He works at IBM, and on the IBM Cloud as a developer advocate, he's focusing on the IBM Kubernetes service, trying to make companies and users have a successful onboarding to the cloud native ecosystem. Let us welcome to the stage, JJ Asghar.
Thank you. Yep. Impressive. Oh. So hi, I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about Kubernetes in 5 minutes. And yes, I really do have that email address. Awesome. It's only 19 slides because this one counts. There we go. First thing first, it's called kubectl, right? Kubectl, because you want to cuddle your Kubernetes clusters. You want to give them big hugs. And you will alias to K before you know it when you're starting to talk to it, because kubectl is really long. First thing first, containers. That is the smallest unit that Kubernetes knows about. And as you can see, you can have multiple containers throughout your Kubernetes cluster. And next one. Yes, there we go. That's actually live. The thing that Kubernetes actually knows about are something called pods. Pods are collections of containers. Can be one, can be many. It can be 3, as you see there, or just one. Then, next thing is deployments. Deployments are actually how you tell Kubernetes, hey, I need X number out there. For instance, at the very top right there, you have a deployment replica of 2, so Kubernetes will always make sure that those 2 pod A's are running somewhere. Nodes. Nodes are actually the unit that Kubernetes runs off of. As you can see, as long as you can run something called the kubelet, it can add to the Kubernetes cluster and run it. You can have hardware that's specific to graphics cards to do ML. You can just do high memory usage, all that stuff. But more importantly, nodes don't actually matter because it's just shared compute. The most important thing you need to learn about Kubernetes is it's just an API to shared compute. That's all it truly is. Think of a mainframe. Okay, failure recovery. Things obviously go wrong. Problems happen. So as you can see, pod A right there, A2 just blew up. It'll actually find another place to run it. And it's smart enough to put it not on the same node. Now, if you notice pod B blew up there, because that first node is probably a problem, it will go move the other side. Let's talk about some internal concepts of Kubernetes. So that's how everything builds up. Next slide. Timing, not right. Damn. I do this talk a lot, too. Okay, most importantly, so we have a bunch of pods here. You need to have some way for the pods to talk to one another. So because we all love DNS, Kubernetes has its own DNS. And that's called the service discovery there. As you see, foo web port 80, and that is actually the YAML you would need to create it. The second most important thing you need to know about are namespaces. Namespaces are a way for you to cut up a Kubernetes cluster and have a way to do it. For instance, you see they're identical, but they're bordered by my application, your application. Think of like dev, QA, and prod can actually all be on the same machine. Node port, don't use these. But they do exist, and they're very important. Don't use these. It's a way to talk directly to one pod. Don't use these. More importantly, what you'll see out there more often is actually load balancers. So load balancers are what you think they are. And they have so many knobs and dials to turn, and there are also multiple companies who have created third-party load balancers to work inside of it. You will see these pretty much everywhere, and they do what you expect. Okay, the most hardest thing about Kubernetes to understand is something called an ingress. There's actually 2 slides here because I usually ramble a little bit too much when I'm talking about them. An ingress controller is a way for Kubernetes to know about how to do stuff. Now, as you see that foo data there, let's talk about that 3-container pod D. That could be a database. Don't run your databases in Kubernetes. But let's say that's a database. And you needed to talk to foo web to talk to foo data. That's actually the YAML on the left right there on how to map it together to know how it's done. Okay, let's talk about the ecosystem, because with all new products, there's always a new ecosystem. Timing again. Damn it. Ecosystem. Helm, because we all need another fucking package manager. That's what Helm is. And next one Istio. Istio is a thing called a service mesh. By the way, a new thing just came out literally yesterday. Istio is having some real trouble. But be that I work for IBM, Istio is great. Service meshes are complex and hard. Be sure to know about it. Knative. Knative is a new serverless platform that sits on top of Kubernetes. It is not 1.0 yet, but there's some real promise there. I wish they called it K-serverless. I don't know why they didn't do that. This next slide, if you want to take a picture of it, is everything you want to know in everything there. Yes, my email is awesome@ibm.com. And if you do reach out to me, I can give you a Kubernetes cluster for about a month on the IBM cloud. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.